What's up, y'all? Empress Dannie here with another episode of The Daily Grind. You already know I'm pouring you up a nice hot cup of joe. Going to get your day off to a bright and beautiful start. Let's check in for today's messages, okay? I'm hearing, I was channeling this song the other day, Macklemore, right? The part I hear is la 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 la, hey. Um, I don't know. I'm just kind of hearing the chanting part. Do 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 do. Obviously, I'm like lower tone, right? Like a baritone. Maybe somebody has a really low voice, right? There could be something significant about those lower registers. I literally hear baritone. Anyway, I'm not sure exactly why that song is coming up because um, I say the chant because if you listen to the song, right, he's like, yeah, I had to take it up. Like the ceiling can't hold us. Ooh. There's and you know that whole part that I'm hearing is kind of like vocal instrumentation. Um, Less than it's a focus on like the words, if you will. So there could be something significant about that. Um, because today, the word that I heard in meditation is fluency. Very fluent is what I heard. And I also heard the word affluent. Okay. And so this could be fluency in any area or affluence in any area. But I was getting like a very like sweet energy. It feels like the energy of a trine. And if you know, I talked about a trine in astrology being a 3 point space of alignment within one's birth chart, that there are, because of the way that these points align, it's a triangle perhaps, um, but the way that these particular, the astral alignment, forgive me, y'all, words come please, right? Because of the astral alignment in the birth chart, the trine usually indicates an area of ease. This comes easily. So you could be fluent in certain areas. Today could be centering around an area that comes very easily to you because of what could be like the way the stars are aligned, whether it's in your chart or whether it's just kind of like today, right? At large. So, anyway, I don't think I asked you before if you would hit that like, but if you could lend your thumb, I would really appreciate that. Okay. Let's go ahead and pull some cards, shall we? And jump into some messages. Something about what feels like, I don't know why I'm kind of getting like a heart change, but it gives like a heart change that there's something that I feel, I don't see, but I feel concerning communication. And it's almost like the heart of the communication. This could be like someone's not communicating from their heart. It could be that they are, right? It could be like going from, if they're, when it comes to fluency, this could certainly be like, I don't know how it gives like business or a job where fluency would be like someone who's very well versed in a topic, but it could be that someone was not very open hearted. I don't want to maybe discuss that with you. I don't, because you don't know what you're talking about. But with fluency, it could certainly be like, again, some of you keep in mind too, right? Like, because you think about like during certain her weather patterns. There is something significant about weather at large right now, which I don't know if we'll touch on that here today, but stay tuned to all of our platforms because it is going to come up. I just heard in the way of a flood. Yabaya, okay, Yaboja, could be very significant right now. Anyway, if you sometimes you when it comes to fluency, your flow in a certain area is better at different times, different seasons, different phases. Let me shuffle um, while I'm discussing this. And so sometimes, um, if the timing is not right or alignment is not there yet, I'm really picking up the energy of like transiting, right? Where, especially if, like, say, the trine is having to do with just the alignment at large right now versus specifically in your chart, while you're transiting to, while the planetary bodies are transiting to that place, you may not have been as fluent. It could certainly be a matter of, now that you are, or that transit has taken place and things are where they are right now, that may be where, like, okay, now everything is in place, and the circumstances, everything is right for there to be fluency just off 555. So some of you, that could be why there's like more, what could be like receptivity. The card that came out is freedom. Okay. So I definitely feel like lots and lots of freedom today. This can mean like you have the liberty to speak. You have the freedom to do as you please in some particular space. It could indicate that something was very difficult for you, even not barring others. But something was very difficult for you to accomplish. This can be like, oh, creative block, right? Writer's block, and that's what I'm supposed to be doing. It could also be like getting through or breaking through in some particular area was very difficult. But today, things can certainly be where they need to be. They're in the right place. As I see the Justice card at the bottom of this deck, right? We're not doing tarot yet, but that's honestly what I feel. Things are in the right place. Things are appropriately aligned, which could certainly indicate like there's aspects, that things that were karmic, that you've actually addressed and regained balance in, if you will. And so now things are changing. So, and obviously we know these changes can go both ways, right? This can be with fluency. It can be like, I thought you knew what you was talking about, but you know what I mean? Now that this transit has taken place, sometimes it's what? My own comprehension. Now I'm fluent, and based on my own fluency, I realize, you don't speak the language, okay? So with that though, freedom gives you what? It's kind of like knowledge is power. So in whatever space this is liberating, because if I was bound by wrong thinking or poor impression, or um, thinking, oh, some things would not work, this would be liberating you from that thought. Like, no, there's plenty of opportunity here, or there's plenty of whatever the situation is. Okay. I definitely feel like there's something coming in that's freeing again. And what it's doing is freeing at what feels like the heart level. So, this could even indicate that your feelings are changing concerning something or someone. Um, Excuse me. Yeah, I hear you're easy to love. So you may be easy to love. I see many things. Thank you for giving, I don't know why I'm kind of getting like, thank you for giving me some time to myself. Um, Thank you for letting, I don't know why I'm kind of getting like, give me some space to think or something like that. Many thanks is coming through midday though. It could be for the freedom, for the liberty. There's so many ways we demonstrate gratitude. So this could indicate that you are taking advantage of the energy in some way, right? If I'm fluent in something and I ain't know because I wasn't quite there yet, this is you demonstrating gratitude, perhaps by putting whatever area it is that you have fluency in into use. This is also, where if for some reason the fluency is not there, this is like, I'm so grateful to know, right? Thank you for helping me let that go. Thank you for showing me what I need to see. It feels like the afternoon has to do with gratitude for what could be like an open heart. Okay. And again, this could be someone else, it could be a person, right? So this could be someone who is open heart. They could be having a change of heart. Okay. They could be, again, The fluid, they may not have had the words may be there now. I see young sunshine, okay? At the end of the day, would just be at the bottom of the deck. Just be, will you just be, okay? I don't know, it's kind of like when you just be honest, but eternal charisma, this can be like, you talk a good game, right? You all talk, but with freedom, I'm not bound by that talk no more, right? I'm not, it can just be like, you smooth, right? Or I don't even necessarily feel like this is about a person. I feel like look at yourself, because sometimes we be so judgmental of our own selves, and spirit may be showing you. I just heard you speak more languages than you think, because you know the language of the heart. And something makes me feel like that could certainly be actions, deeds, right? Way deeper than words. That with freedom, you are free because you speak the language of love. You have the liberty because that's the right language. It's almost like the language of like humanity, right? Have a heart could be what that is. You listen to the heart of a person, place, or thing, and it liberates you. And you're grateful because something feels like this sunshine at the end of the day is a revelation of sorts. Okay. I also just heard new. So for some of you, there could be something significant around something. I also just heard or someone new. We have the camel at the top of the day. So freedom card and the camel, you could certainly just, we already know the camel is what? Self-love, right? Fire energy. So you could be with freedom, just taking the liberty to do something that you want to do for yourself, on your own, right? This could even be like creative or artistic in one way or another. It could be a means of like self-expression, something that you're working on. That is something I want to work on. I'm working on this. I want to work on this. I want to rock right now, right? But that's what it feels like. Ooh, young bones. Here we have with the owl midday, bringing in some air energy. We already know owl is all about that treasure, right? Treasure in wisdom, the treasure in those things that are beyond the physical senses, but that extend into that unseen realm that simply knows. I literally just heard where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. So something feels as though this is perhaps communication of some sort, or I also just heard knowledge being given to you, information, insight, or you're giving this to someone else. I heard, but it's valuable, and that's where I feel like the gratitude is. Okay. So I don't this for some of you, you're gonna realize this is spirit. Spirit is coming through and giving you some valuable information, some valuable insight that you I just heard just couldn't pass up. Okay. So it feels as though spirit is telling you something that you need to know. Yeah, not here. Who is that? Lord, is that the name of the group? Now you're just somebody that I used to know. Somebody I used to know. Maybe something is significant about that group, that song. Um, but like I said, and that could be, like I said, 13:33 on the clock. That could be letting people go. But it's like this. Glad I know this now. Thank you for letting me know so that I can let whatever this is go. Speaking of y'all, yesterday I was in a very uh, I'll just say effective meditation session. And I literally heard the audible voice of God say Psalm 126. Spirit spoke to me. Some of y'all need to check that out. Oh my God, such a powerful, powerful psalm, especially when it comes to like finances, financial matters. But it's way deeper than that. It has to do with being restored. And if you think about things that you've been through in life, right? This is there's kind of an energy that is underlying that I don't really want to give a whole lot of credit to, but that I want to at least mention that has to do with like getting duped. Okay. I fell for it, right? You got me. Um, there is an energy that's at play that's like that, that is like I bought it, but um, I'm glad I know now. Okay. Um, in this energy, right? Um, that is the when spirit show you the real, you are grateful to know. You're grateful to know the truth, to see what could be like the real person, or it's really good, right? Or it could be, I don't know why it's given like spammer, right? That's not a real opportunity, right? Seeing that's what it feels like, okay? Seeing something more clearly. Thank you for letting me know that, so that I see things for what they are, okay? And like I said, this could just be in a situation. You may not have seen something clearly. You may not have seen the heart of someone, the heart of an issue, um, just the heart of a matter, period. And it could have had you bound, right? Sometimes this is where we get hung up on things. Why isn't this working? Why isn't this happening? And it could be for what we don't know that that our point of focus, because remember, point of focus can be what literally kills your dreams. Well, this could certainly be like the heart being restored in some way, with love being restored, because now I know this. Okay. Oh, I feel a whole lot better, right? Now that I know the truth. Okay. Now I know you being honest, or now I know this is what really happened, right? There's something of that nature that is at play today, that I like in Psalm 126. If you look at it, if you lost anything in your life, I just heard if you lost everything in your life. Sometimes feeling fluent, or like and this can be in any area, right? It's like I hear Brian McKnight. I can definitely can't hit them notes at this hour. Look at me like as if someone had an expectation, right? Because I just hear him and I'm like, I can barely hear the damn note, let alone sing it first time I look into your eyes. Okay, that's all for right now. Let's do it. Aaliyah said everybody sleep, okay? Anyway, I'm kind of getting this energy where it could have to do with like love, right? Um, I don't know why I kind of get like, I always loved you, right? I always felt this way about you. But this just feels like good to know. Um, but if you've been hurt in love, then or you maybe have messed up, or maybe things didn't work out. Sometimes you look at yourself and say, maybe I don't speak the language right. Maybe I just, maybe my heart ain't right, right? And it could just be spirit is saying, wait, I'm getting you there so that you can see yourself clearly, so that you can see things clearly. Baby, you got it. You speak, you know the language, baby. You know the heart. And something feels like that's coming through. And some of you, this is being shown, proven to you today, where spirit is saying, look, all you got to do is be yourself. You fluent in the language of love as it pertains to me, and that's real. And this could be somebody, I just needed some time to myself. Thank you. That's important to me. You're valuable to me. Thank you for digging deeper, right? And it don't have to be that there was bad blood, a misconception, anything of that nature. It just feels like the season, the timing, the fluency, which can, like I said, be like the throat chakra, is has her perfectly warmed up, right? To a degree, right? To be able to reveal whatever this is, okay? And like I said, sometimes it's like things that you have to go through on your own, right? I had low self-esteem. I didn't feel confident enough. I didn't think that you would understand. It could be things of that nature, okay? I didn't think that you would understand, or that I didn't understand, or um, I didn't think you understood, but now that I know this, I realize I just heard understood perfectly. Okay. You know exactly how I feel. Okay. Okay. There's something of that nature. Okay. I don't know why. Something makes me feel like there's something about today between the afternoon and the evening that's bringing about like some of those like unique opportunities to have what feels like a deeper connection, on a heart level. That, like I said, it's almost like if you talking to a client or a job, it's like those very cerebral moments where you're both in the subconscious and but you're connecting on the connection that you're making, conversation that you're having, or whatever it is that you're getting into is much deeper. There's a conscious aspect of the conversation, but there's also the soul aspect of the conversation. And that's where I feel like the fluency is. It's almost like being rooted in purpose. And if you're rooted in purpose, then when you speak from a place of that unified purpose, which could very well be what that is, then the fluency, the words just flow. You literally know exactly what to say. Okay. And I don't think this means that you have to be necessarily saying something, although we do have the owl, so it's quite possible that that's the case. Um, You could also, I just heard something about like financial information. You could be receiving some sort of financial information. Okay. Going back to Psalm 126 as we wait for this last card to fall. Psalm 126 talks about being restored, restoration coming. As one of my favorite cards fall out, right? Restoration for the things that you've been through. And it is prosperity. It is about double. I deserve double for your trouble, right? It is excuse me, about compensation for the pain, for what it is that you had to endure. But it really speaks to that promise that God made, that the years will be restored, the time, the energy, the effort, it wasn't all in vain. The love was, um, you know, somebody else may not have gotten it, but you were speaking the right language. And with that, the last card that fell is a unicorn. Trust me, it felt like a hell of an ending to a day. The phoenix is at the bottom of the deck. And it feel like the unicorn in sunshine is something, obviously ether energy with the unicorn, but it's almost like something is very telling by the end of the day that I just heard of a different breed. You just unique. You unique. And with the phoenix, it has to do with I don't know why it's kind of giving like the fact that you've ascended is apparent. It's very, very clear with sunshine and the unicorn. This is very clear that you're different. And you could be seeing this in 22 on the clock. You could be seeing this in others. It's very clear that they're different. They speak the language. And again, it's almost this energy of like, it might look different. It might come across in a different way, but with sunshine is very, it's very something. What based on what I'm seeing, something is definitely, I feel an energy of progression taking place. Okay. I also just heard resurrection, which I definitely get a very strong ascension vibes. Okay. But what feels like, I don't know why I'm kind of getting like the elevation of Christ, where Christ is elevated to be seen or to be visible by all, and it's in His glory, right? The separation of Jesus or of the Christ was largely to make an example, that to give an example of the difference between Jesus and um, it's almost, and what's crazy is it's really giving an example of both the difference, the contrast, and the unification or oneness, that these is the same exact things before his death and after his ascension, right? And just to explain that a little bit more, there is this perspective, right? If you think about Christ before his crucifixion, he was what? Bruised, mocked, beaten. He went through all of these things, right? Mistreated, right? And it was seen as if that's the sinful Christ, right? He took on all the sins of the world and he was nailed to a cross, right? Curses he that hangeth on a tree. And so he went through through that until he awakened. And the awakening was him saying, it's finished. I'm done, right? I'm not going through any of that. Um, but now that I realize or I'm aware of all of this, and that is where um, the sin, that is where I released the sin and the shame, right? So he took it on, right? And then he released it, right? The sin against himself of going through whatever it is that he was going through from his perspective, right? It's not really my business, but that looks like two different aspects of the Christ. It looks like Christ, the sinner to a degree, right? And Christ, the saint. And so it paints like a parallel while also, it paints a contrast while also depicting this parallel that shows they're exactly the same, so that it helps you realize before your rebirth, right? That's not a bad person. That's not somebody that was off, right? You still had a heart of gold, but you had to go through this refining process. There was more that you needed to know. There was more that you needed to understand. And so during that process of you establishing that, right, going on that soul searching journey is what it feels like is being depicted here. This feels like an energy of like, finally you have arrived. And obviously that's going to be revealed in different places of life. Relationship, you've learned some things. Now you get it, right? Now you know what's important in relationship at the heart of it. And this is in business, right? When it comes to, I just heard the love of money, right? The roots. And I feel like to a degree that's the case. You cleared some aspect of karma in those areas. So now what feels like today is ushering in what feels to be some unique, some new revelations of sorts that are based on this fluent heart that we've talked about, and based on that are based on this new valuable information being at play. This newfound wisdom and knowledge that you have is what it feels like. Okay, it's way too many cards. Okay. And what I feel like it's doing is, because you have this newfound wisdom, knowledge, insight, you are taking better care of yourself, and something feels like it shows. And that's what I feel by the end of the day. There's something that, sunshine, everybody sees, right? Whether they want to see it or not. But it feels as though whatever this is something that is being revealed that everybody sees in you, right? And it's not that that's what's important. It's more so that I don't know why I'm getting the energy of like the Christ revealed. Okay. That's what it feels like. Okay. And it could be like the heart of Christ revealed, because that always comes through. So I just feel like this is going to look different in different scenarios. So this can definitely be like consciousness is revealed, where if you look like you didn't know what you were talking about, it could be clearly you do. Okay. Clearly, you know exactly what you're talking about. You might talk different, you might speak different, it might not sound the same, but clearly there's something of that nature. Okay. Mindfulness is at the top of the day. Okay. Pairing up with freedom, right? So you may be being mindful of the freedom or the liberty that you have. And this could be like that. That could be why let me take care of myself. Let me do for me, or let me do what I do, right? Being mindful of, maybe it is my needs, some of the things that I have going on. It could also be realizing maybe that you've had some time to yourself, and being mindful of that. You could certainly be in a position where it's like, okay, I've had my free time or my time to myself. Let me take some time, and what could be like, I want to do whatever this is. But it could be an act of loving the self that demonstrates mindfulness as it pertains to maybe it is doing for someone else, not really for me to really say. Learn the truth is coming out here. So when I talk about getting some sort of information, valuable information, with many things here, that's what it feels like. Gratitude. There's something, I don't know if you're seeking information or someone else is soliciting information from you. There is some sort of what feels like, I just heard a bounce back. So some of you just be mindful of that in the afternoon. That could certainly be what the thanks is for. You may be bouncing back because you're learning or gaining some some sort of information, and look at that eternal charisma here and passion. And so it makes me feel like that's what this heart is that's coming out, is this fluency, or oh, you definitely speak the language. I just heard I want that. Feels as though with the sun, you're getting some attention because of the fact that you're fluent in some particular area. And this can just be like, baby, I just heard that spiritual tongue. Fortuna at the bottom of the deck at the split. Malady, which we've seen, right? So again, when I talk about this sickness, illness, right? Ailment, disease, a certain incurable, that could resonate for someone. But the reason that I mentioned this, obviously, because I see it. But again, this could be, look at yourself, in the way you look at yourself, right? Sick. The perspective that you have of you is sick, right? It's not healthy. We don't have time to pull these, but we're going to go to Patreon and we'll get them with our extended messages for members. So I hope that you'll join us there. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Check out the Spotify and other platforms as well. I love you. We'll talk again soon. Bye for now.